You're listening to Stokvel Voice Podcast.
Hi, I am Busis Kenjana. Welcome to our historical first episode of the Stokvel Voice Podcast. Today, my guest is Andile Fulane.
This is the epitome of success. Before it gets to a lot of places, we are just calling it what it is. This is success. This is success. And congratulations, Mambusi and the Stokvel Voice team on this great achievement that you've had. My name is Andile Fulane. And indeed, I'm from Seed of Prosperity, and I am ready. I'm ready to rock the boat, Mambusi. It's about time.
What are your views about financial education in the Stokvel movement? Why? Why are you so interested? I know you are a successful young businessman. You've got big clients doing educating, but why Stokvels? Why financial education in Stokvels?
When we talk about the journey, years ago when I entered your office, I think it's just the passion that one had and the potential that I saw among the Stokvels. I mean, I quit my job for Stokvels. So all Stokvels need to be paying attention to the education that we're actually bringing forth, because we realize there's a lot of potential in Stokvels that is not being used. I saw a lot of people that are consuming a lot, have the ability to save, have the ability to do big things, but they are not doing them. And I knew, knowing the literacy levels, not financial literacy levels in South Africa are very low, especially among adults. Only now that these millennials are catching up with education. And I also realized a pattern that most people don't even value education. So they don't know the bridge. So if you were to invite them for a financial literacy course, you will have a bit of a struggle, because they don't see the challenge between what they're trying to achieve and the lack of knowledge. They don't see that knowledge can actually bridge the gap to them getting to their promised land, if we may call it that way. So those are the things that I saw. And I realized before we even start educating people, we needed to make an awareness about education itself, just to make aware, especially the adults, a lot of older people, that education is actually the key to success. The very things that they are telling their children, they are not actually practicing. And that's what been the potential. Stokvel, like you rightfully said, Stokvel is an economy of itself. A lot of businesses that are struggling in townships can be funded through Stokvels. A lot of franchises can be bought and succeed through Stokvels. We can own the transportation system or turn it around like it's not, as effective as it should be now. A whole lot of things can actually happen to Stokvels. 45 billion circulating per annum, it's a lot of money. And that money, it's not even calculated properly. Those are like just mere statistics. If you can get to the ground and actually calculate the money, I'm sure it's way, way over than that. So that's actually what brought me on the passion to actually come and educate Stokvels.
Wow, you've mentioned quite significant points here. You mentioned the millenniums. Like I mentioned earlier on, when you talk Stokvel, people just think Gogo Madlamini,
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
Where do the millenniums fit in here in terms of, education, Stokvels? Do you think they're interested in Stokvels?
Very, very interested in Stokvels. I'm part of the millennials. Well, partially. I'm a partially millennial, because millennials are counted from like the 80s, early 80s. And I'm on social media, so I see people in different groups talking, and people are studying all over Stokvels for property buying. Because this generation is about economic liberation. The previous generation was about political liberation. So now these guys are actually realizing that our parents were poor. We can't, actually lead a life like that. We need to actually be prosperous ourselves, and one of the methods that actually can make us prosper is Stokvels. But they still have that gray area as well, not knowing exactly what are Stokvels, how to operate a Stokvels, how to make a Stokvel successful. So they want to bridge the traditional Stokvels with conventional investment methods, like you're investing in property, in shares, and so forth. So mostly are like most of your investment clubs, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. But taking the raw, rich culture of Stokvels, of togetherness, of trust, and and all those attributes that come with a good Stokvel. So definitely, millennials are definitely interested in Stokvels.
So is it really happening? We just talking about it. Mm-hmm. The millennials, like you said, you are one of them.
Yes.
Are you probably not one of the few in millions. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are studying Stokvels. For instance, there's a colleague of mine in financial literacy who's called Nicolette, and she's very popular on Facebook. She does Facebook videos, and she'll be talking about financial literacy issues. But the ultimate goal is to start Stokvels. She has started successfully a Stokvel that invests in property, collecting members from Facebook, but they physically meet, which is the most important thing. There needs to be a relationship among the Stokvel members. And which is when this hype about Stokvels actually came, they came also internet Stokvels, where people say, no, just contribute in one pot, and those became fraudulent. But she meets with the other people, they get together and they start conversating. The people that met, from Facebook, because there's a social space anyway. And then she started that property Stokvels. They want to buy properties for cash. I don't know how long they're actually saving. They'll then put that money and buy Stokvel's properties for cash. And now she just started another one to buy a franchise. And she's limiting that number of people to about 40, I think, for the franchise. I can't remember how much they're contributing per month. But the property one has become successful. And now we're anticipating that the franchise one is actually going to be successful as well.
Great. Yes, it's good to look into long-term investment and all that, but we have to go back to the basics.
Yes.
Before I could even think of investing in property, where does savings culture come in here?
Yes.
Because I'm told Stokvels about nothing else but savings. But are Stokvels really saving? Sometimes I feel a bit, nah, man. They save, come end of the year, this money goes into the bank. And how are you going to get into that real hardcore investment if your savings behavior is still a bit wishy-washy?
Yes.
What's your experience? Just share that with us.
Yes, I mean, some of the things I've learned in the journey of Stokvels and interacting with you as well is that Stokvels are as diverse as people are. There are Stokvels that are just, just about immediate gratification. They just want to, save up. If they do save up until December, then there's savings that doesn't go beyond December. And they then throw a party and then, or maybe use that money to buy uniforms and so forth. So that long-term vision, especially among black people, I mean, and we don't want to sound political or whatever, or like shoot ourselves down, is that like we are not capable. But when you look at the Chinese people are disciplined and long-term focused. They are visionary people. They families. I'm not talking about businesses and organizations. Families have a 20-year plan. In this family, we have a 20-year plan. Who's going to take over the factory or the farm or whatever the case may be? Who's supposed to be born? The daughter, the son, and this is how things are going to be. They are visionary people. We as black people, and it has to do with our history as well. We are pushed to actually try to live a survival life on a day-to-day, from hand to mouth type of a lifestyle. And now that things have changed, even economically, people are still living that lifestyle, not realizing that there's things that actually need to be done. Some people know that I need to save for my children, for education and so forth, but it's not a reality. It means they don't live them. They know it in theory, but they don't live it. They don't even foresee the consequences of not saving. So that's where we are, and that's where financial education actually comes from. But there are a few Stokvels, like you are saying. I mean, you belong to two Stokvels, and I know one of them is actually successful. And you and because it's a genuine story, it's a real story. Every time we share with the people that have gathered that I've had a Stokvel that is in burial, and this is how much it's sitting with. It's not that successful. There's another Stokvel whose vision was to own properties, and this is where we are now. So you can show two contrasts, and people can actually understand that, a vision, you can actually, when you have a long-term vision, and sometimes maybe it might be good to actually belong to two Stokvels. The Stokvel that satisfies your immediate needs and the Stokvel that for long-term. But the challenge is most of the people have one particular Stokvel that they belong to, or don't have a vision or long-term goals that can actually drive them or discipline them to actually get to them.
Wow, that's great. What role do you think big business should play in this Stokvel financial education journey?
Business has we've had challenges. I mean, I think that big business doesn't foresee. I think probably they are short-sighted as well. They don't see or don't realize, and I guess a lot of businesses have not been consumer-centered, but have been profit-centered. They don't realize that a lot of people that actually purchase their products need to be, prepared. Let me put it like that. or coached or made ready to actually purchase certain of their portfolios. So most of the portfolio of certain business, especially insurance companies, investment companies, they sell a lot of funeral products to the mass market. And they sell investment products like your retirement annuities and so forth, or savings products, to a small margin of the economy, or of the population, not realizing there's a big potential that the very people that they're actually selling funeral products to, they can be the ones that are buying retirement annuities. I mean, you can imagine how many people that have come to our Stokvel Academy and are older people and they don't have retirement annuities. Do you get me? So that's where the potential is, and people do not realize that. And these people are going to retire, they don't have money. Black tax continues. The legacy of black tax continues, where they depend on their children. These are the things that we should be making. We should be teaching the younger people, or the people that are probably in their 30s, to say, look, in your Stokvels, you can take a bit of this. They don't think like that. They just consume. People want to consume, and the business is taking advantage of that. Whereas we need to be tilling the ground and making sure that all of us actually benefit. Because believe you me, the Stokvels are going to benefit from the education, and business is going to benefit as well.
But yeah, as a banker, or in the financial services sector, how do I engage with these Stokvels? Stokvels, they come across as being fragmented sometimes. I mean, they're all over the show.
Yes.
How do we ensure that, we educate them as a collective, so that we can take them to that level of investment? Where do we start? I mean, how do we get this working?
I think, it's about knowing your strength. I think a few financial services companies have tried getting into Stokvels, like other kind of businesses. It's not that easy. You need, companies like BSK, who's been in the ground, who's passionate, because you need to have the patience, you need to speak the language that the people are talking. And this is where the partnership actually works, with people that are on the ground, that are able to, move Stokvels from the ground, or for a lack of a better word, and get them into a particular one place where they can learn. I mean, we've been doing that through the Stokvel Academy, and it's been successful with some corporate companies. But technology as well plays a big role. We've done some study for a particular bank as well, where we realized that there are some grannies in Limpopo actually interested in internet banking.
Wow. Gogo's internet banking.
Exactly.
Wow.
These are the insights that you're talking about, that people don't realize, that people want convenience. Whether I'm a Gogo, I'm from the rural areas, I don't want to be, taking a taxi, long journey to town to actually do certain financial transactions. If there's a method of doing that on my phone, I would learn. If there's someone who's willing to teach me, I would learn that. And I see technology playing a role in giving access, especially free access that's sponsored by these big corporates, to financial education through technology.
Talking about Gogo, I just imagine Gogo and Mzugulo doing internet banking.
Imagine, exactly.
Yeah, Gogo
exactly.
Mzugulu, Mkulu Mzugulu.
Exactly.
That bond,
Yes.
between Gogo
Yes.
and grandchild. I mean,
Yes.
that's quite interesting.
It's very interesting, and it will bridge the gap. Because
Yeah.
a lot of young people don't think that they can learn anything from Abo Koko.
Yebo.
And a lot of Kokos don't think they can learn anything from the
Yebo.
young people.
Yebo.
So this is something that can actually bring us together, the Kokos, the older generation, and we can actually interact and be able to be productive in that method.
Definitely taking wisdom ka Gogo and the
Yes.
technology
Exactly,
savviness
yes.
ka Mzugulu,
Definitely.
Gee, that's quite interesting. We have to
Definitely.
talk about that. Andile, it has been great talking to you. Just a parting shot, what are the basics, fundamentals, just basic savings principle that you could share with our listeners? Just basics, I'm one person. I really believe Stokvels it's a humble movement. It's a
Yes.
people's movement, if you want to call it.
Yes.
Let's just go to the basics before we talk about these big things.
Yes.
Just give me 5 or so basics of savings.
Okay. One of the basic principles about savings is start small. Like you are saying, don't do big things before you start small. Like that journey that of Louis Armstrong that you're actually talking about. You start small. And starting small is, you can start, because savings is not only about money, it's about the discipline, the behavior. So if you are not a savings tuned person, then you're going to struggle saving even 1 rand. So you need to say, this is I'm putting away and I'm going to be disciplined and not doing anything about it, whether it's in a stokvel or individually. And it can start as small as 50 Rand or as 20 Rand, you can actually start it. I normally use a 2-liter example and say, if you put 2 Rands in a 2-liter, like 2 Rands is like change that you give to your children. If you put that in a 2-liter, 2 Rands in a 2-liter, what do you think? Maybe let me put it to you. What do you think if that 2-liter is full? How much is it going to be?
Wow, yeah. Now you caught me. Yeah, lots of money. I
Lots
think.
of money.
Yeah.
So it gives you about 1,700 rands.
Wow.
Yes, So
Wow,
it
I'm
just
gonna
it just
start
gives
today.
you that. Yes,
Yeah.
you can just throw in 2 rands there and start with that discipline, and then because you'll be tempted when you see the 2 rands start piling, then that's another method. Or you can just take 20 rands, or from your stokvel you say, if we are in a stokvel and we are taking out 150 for whatever party at the end of the year, can we take 20 rands from that and put it aside, and actually put it aside. We don't have a plan of what we want to do for now and so forth. And then next one is the goal, because you now have to, because it's easier to actually eat the money if you don't have a specific goal, especially an emotionally attached goal, because money is emotional. So if we say, okay, we're going to want to start a catering in the stokvel, and this catering is going to make us so much money potentially every month if you are a stokvel that has a catering company on the side. So now you've attached some emotional bond into whatever saving that you actually want to put away. No one is going to touch that money. Believe you me, no one is going to touch, because all of us see how we are actually going to benefit from there. So that's second. Number 3, it's communication. So whether you're in your family or in your stokvel, you need to have a buy-in from everyone. Because if you're doing this alone, believe you me, you'll get the frustration from the other people that don't see the vision. And that's what happens sometimes within the stokvels, that people don't buy into the stokvels. Before you move into another level of probably want to save or invest, you need to make sure that everyone is actually bought in. Even in the family, or if you're a couple, maybe there's only the 2 of you, you say, no, look, we had a traditional wedding and now we want to have a white wedding. If the passion is only from one side, believe you me, it's not going to happen at all. So and another one is, that savings and debt are in contrast, So if you are saving, as part of your savings goals, let me put it that way, should be that you need to get rid of your debt. Unless your debt, you are using it to buy your property, like it's almost like a long-term investment, or you're using your debt to buy a machinery that you're going to manufacture something with it. They normally call it good debt, bad debt, type of a thing. But if you are saving for a long term, because you look at how much savings are, the interest that you're actually gaining on your normal savings, it's like your 5%, 6%. And you look at how much debt is costing you. You need to get to that level. And debt is costing us a lot. Debt could be costing you about 15% upwards, So those are the things that you need to look at. You need to strike a balance. You shouldn't be excited that you put this money away, but you are sitting with a lot of debt. So if you put money away, your other goal should be just getting rid of the debt. And then you can have pure debt that you can actually invest for a long term. So that's definitely, that should actually happen like that. And the other one is to transfer knowledge as well. This is what I'm passionate about as well. Transfer knowledge. If we are within a stokvel, and this is what has happened, and we've seen within a stokvel, there's a few people that are financially literate. Makufunda bank statements in a stokvel. Everyone else sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But umsebenzi ka-treasurer, umsebenzi
They don't
ka-secretary,
even
yeah.
listen. They don't
Yeah.
even listen. And they don't realize this can actually help them in their individual lives as well. Just paying attention to details and knowing where your money is going. Because at the end of the year, people would not say, okay, no, what happened to this money? Why is this money? Let's say you've invested with a certain bank and you are getting 5% there, and then there's transactions that are eating a bit of that 5%. Now, because you're not listening when the treasurer was counting to say, we've invested, we got 5%, and 5% is equivalent to so much rents, but we also have bank charges of so much. Who ate away? You start telling the person that they you are eating our money and so forth. Similar thing as far as education is concerned at home. You need to be teaching, passing that down to your children and making sure that everyone is on board. I mean, I've had a family who actually told me, in fact, it's Tivo Touch, Touch Online. I was on Tivo Touch Online, and he was telling me that he actually educates his children about money.
Wow.
And he tells them that, look, it's not month end yet. You not be able to get this. So that children know that, you need to wait for certain things. He gives them a stipend on a monthly basis at the beginning of the month and say, this is your money. And if it gets finished before the month end, that's your business. You're not getting anything,
Yeah. See to finish.
And the worst one that he actually did now is he said, the children were crying. It's like it was dinner time, and they said, "No, mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, I'm hungry." And then their mom asked them, like, "Okay, you are hungry. Like, where's the money then? How are we going to buy the food?" And he was actually telling them that nothing comes automatic.
Yeah.
They were still going to dish for them. It's like, yeah, no, but I'm your child,
Yeah, but the child
you need to
needs-
bring
yeah,
your
you-
money. This
yeah,
is a plate. And
yeah,
you've seen when we go
yeah.
to these restaurants that we need to put money away first and then wait. At the month end, we can be able to buy. There's no difference. This food that is here is being bought for. It's labor. I don't charge you anything, but you need to realize those kind of disciplines.
Yeah.
So those are some of the tricks or topics that we can actually take home or talk to our Stokvels and start conversating about.
That's a great point to end it up. Actually, it resonates with our motto here that says it's about wealth and wisdom. What a way to end it up. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned to Stokvel Voice Podcast.